Good bag, agus falche, good Ceilidh. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday Night Ceilidh. Tonight I'll be your host, James MacIntyre, a student here where we're recording at Beaton. And today we have Mairi, Rankin, and Andrea Beaton with us to play some tunes. But before we get, thank you for playing the tunes.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here tonight.
No problem.
Before we get back into some more tunes, we've got a question for you, Maddie.
Yeah.
Your music has been taking you around the world recently, specifically to the Celtic connections in Scotland. How was that? How was the trip there?
Oh my gosh, it was a great time. We left last week and it took over 21 hours to get there, but we got there with our luggage, so that's a positive note. And so we got into Glasgow and with the kind of lifestyle that we have, we're always traveling and on the move. So it was so nice to be able to spend a week right in Glasgow the whole time. So we got in and then we had rehearsals with a band called Breitbach, which is one of the top Celtic bands of the world.
Oh, wow.
And they're just a pile of fun. We did some shows with them in 2019, at Celtic Colors. So we kind of revamped the show that we did there. So it was nice to have a little bit of groundwork done. Yeah. And then we learned some new pieces for them and they learned some new pieces of ours. So we had a jam-packed 5.5-hour rehearsal day. And then the next day we played in Barney Hall, which is a beautiful big kind of old church type venue. And yeah, it was awesome. It was a sold out crowd and we just had a great time. The big difference from the 5 years ago to this year is that there's 3 new babies in the Breitbach band.
Wow.
So and we're just babies ourselves in the viola. We haven't changed. But so I was over there for that week, and then we ended up doing some shows with the Outside Track, the other band that I play in, and some shows for BBC Radio, which was absolutely nerve-wracking because it's like there's like the whole nation is listening. So we were able to do one with Sarah DeRose, who's an amazing Americana alt country singer, and the Paul McKenna band. So that was great. So and then we just did one with Catherine Tickell as the host. She's a piper from England, and so it was full on. So we had a great time.
Oh well, sounds like it would be a
good time
quite
for
a trip.
sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, now I guess we're gonna get you to play another set.
Okay.
What are you looking to play next?
Well, I'll say the tunes of that first group of tunes. Sorry. I started with a really popular jig called Liz Na Gun. It's a tune that I've heard the East Pointers play quite a bit, and then we've been kind of incorporating it in the viola sets. I've heard it in a couple of different keys, so hopefully we're playing it in the right key.
Mm-hmm.
Then we went into like an old John Campbell tune, and then that D minor one is a great, another old...
The chorus.
What is it called?
The chorus.
Oh, the chorus. I thought you said the chorus.
I'm hungry too.
The chorus jig, that's good. And then the last one, which I made a flub. So that's why I played it 3 times. Hopefully we did it justice. But that was Mary Hughes' jig. That was written by Kevin Chasen. So he's written some absolutely fantastic tunes. Yeah. So it's great to play them. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what's now there? What little March Strasbourg reel?
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay. Let's go with some A tunes. I'm going to start with a tune called The Piper's Weird, which is a beautiful slow lament written way back in Scotland. And then we'll go into a tune, I think it's the one that your dad wrote, Shelley Campbell's Strathspey.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, that one.
Dee-dee.
Yeah, and then we'll go into a Strathspey that Wendy McIsaac wrote for Mary Jane Lamond, the Gaelic singer.
Mhm.
Then into Miss Betty Ann Gordon's. This is the woman's set. Yes.
Girl
And then
power.
the Spice Girls set. So we'll see what happens after Betty Ann Gordon's. We'll keep it on that theme. All right.
All right.
Wanna be my lover.
You know, I was like, oh, F sharp minor. I didn't think that in a while.
You're so quick. That's great.
Fun.
Alright. Thank you, Maddie and Andrea. Next up, alright, and with the fiddling, there's a big connection with the Gaelic language and Gaelic song and everything in it. So I've been requested to sing a song for this
Yes.
show as well.
Oh, good.
Yay.
So I'll be singing Felt Traum Traum Duawach, which is, I guess I'll get right into it. Felt Traum Traum Duawach, Felt Buime de Guawing, Felt Skrinya Hualas, Nagualer Van Grinyaxa. Feskud Ceilidh Sauri Smigamach Hausa Ko Hakerumach Mounsa I can Taimon Agwanyachan Fal Traum Traum Duawach Fal Pluime Tagua Wing Fal Skrinya Hualas Nagualer Ron Grinyaxa Hausa dawa fasa is my shut dawa helwa herwing and 3 crown mora skipran nach loom and jawach fout traum traum dua wach fout bui met a gua wing fout is grinya gualas na gualer ron grinyaxa She the loma wukarok nach the fashin ax to sahiche gansa an ha shik miri lemana al traum traum dua wa fal bui met a gua wing al the skinya gualas na gualer ron grinyaxa Shimmer geiche fashion nar so yan savahik nar hanin zeri taco and jugen now like arachas fal traum traum dua walk fal bui met a gua wing fal the skrinya hualas and gualer grinyaxa En keine klette charug san a bivik sa chwasich en gilwach mi hangu an ha shik miri lomanach fal traum traum dua wach fal bui met a gua wing fal ta skrinya hualas na gualer ro grinyaxa. Alright. Sorry, I'm a
Ooh,
bit
that's
rusty. I'm not in my A game right now.
What
Used to-
is that about?
It's Felt Traum Traum Duawach. It's heavy ringleted hair.
Okay.
It's a love song, you know, unrequited love. It's
Always.
Always.
I-
No.
I think I've messed up a few of the lines, but you know, it's about a girl. It's one of the rare Gaelic songs about a blonde woman, actually,
Oh.
which is they're usually about dark-haired girls, brown or black hair.
Mm-hmm.
Never the redhead.
Oh, I'm sure we could find some.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably one that's.
Well, about Gaelic, I think, do you have
Second
Rankin
Gaelic.
Okay, well, have you had Gaelic influence your fiddle playing at all? Is it?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think just coming from Mabu alone, you know, the sound of the language really has given us a sense of our style. But also, my mom, Effie Rankin, is from Scotland, so. Having that wealth of knowledge of her music and like her saying, like, listen to this Gaelic song, or listen, you know, see if that would work on the fiddle. It's great to have that as a guide too, to picking out because a lot of all Gaelic songs don't fit well with certain instruments. Some sound better on the piano, some sound better on the fiddle. It's nice when they have like a chorus and a verse. They're a little bit different too. So it's neat to take them and work with them. But having Mum as a resource has been phenomenal. You know, just a good guide to what to play.
Do you ever find that you use, like, when you hear a Porchtabile, like if you happen to hear someone singing a Porchtabile that you don't know maybe the tune of, that you like, maybe you'll take that to try to...
Definitely, and that's the thing. It's like we've heard a lot of the same ones, and I think that just comes with, because they are so difficult. There's not a lot of them that that people sing. It takes a super skill to keep the breath work. It's amazing. So to find, like, I think Melody and them were working on a new project, and she was finding new Porchtabiles and whatnot.
Wow.
And I can't wait to hear that, because that would be really neat to hear how the mouth music correlates with the fiddle and piano. So,
yeah, that's very exciting. And there's one more thing. I know that Kenneth Joseph MacDonald has had an influence on your fiddle playing. Would you consider him to be like a mentor?
Definitely. In the big scheme of learning, we all started out when we were in Mabu, going to Stan Chapman. So he was the fiddle teacher that everybody was lining up to get in, and I think I had tried to get in the first time, and he was full, and then Dad heard that there was an opening, so then I went to Stan, and it was just like, okay, this is what I want to do. I loved the fiddle from the minute I got it. And then Kenneth Joseph MacDonald, who was my neighbor growing up, and he would just come over once or twice a week, and he'd sit and he would just play and play and play and play, and I'd record everything, and I had all these tunes to learn every week. And then
What kind of ghetto blaster did you have?
I don't, it was pink, and the play and rewind buttons were worn off. It's the only pink thing I think I ever had. Oh my god, I know. It's like so girly. But it got a lot of use. Oh my god. Yeah, you'd sit there and you'd just record, and it was just a different era too. Like, you know, like Mom and Dad would go downstairs, and Kenneth Joseph would be able just to sit there, and he'd have a pot of tea, and he'd have his Expert A cigarettes, and just smoke and drink tea and play tunes, and it was, you know, it was just the way it was. It was great, and no interruptions, and I had that luxury of Kenneth Joseph coming over for about 4 or 5 years. So it totally shaped my whole way. And then Willie Kennedy was his neighbor. So Willie was just, you know, 2 more meters down the other side of the road. So yeah, on the hill there was lots of music. And then there was always a priest stopping by with a fiddle or a tune or whatnot. So, I mean, growing up in Mabu, it was the cream of the crop to be able to have. Yeah. You heard a new tune, if not every day, every second or third day, you know. It was just something to kind of keep working towards. So I don't know, but like when you grew up, you were in Hawkesbury, right?
Yes.
And like fiddle was later on, wasn't it?
For me it was, I was very, I didn't feel like it was very cool to play, and I was lucky that I had my parents playing all the time, so I was
hearing it, yeah.
So I was like retaining music, and I loved music anyway, but I didn't want to let on that I was really interested. So, but I had the same kind of thing where with the tunes being played, I didn't have the Mabu like community aspect like that, but I had a Mabu in my house. My dad, you know, a Mabuer.
Yeah, and at the time, like, you know, you're a teenager and you're probably like, oh,
yeah, I know,
you know, but it's still in there, and it's like osmosis. It's kind of like.
Well, when I started playing, I realized I had hundreds of tunes in my head, and I would call home from, I was in PEI, I'd say, is this right? Is this right? And they were like, where are you getting all this? In my head. I remember.
That's great.
You thought I wasn't listening.
Yeah. I mean, exposure can be the most important part.
It is.
Totally.
And I think like what you guys are doing here at Bay and Vabu, like having somebody in speaking Gaelic all the time, having music in, you know, you can do all these things. You could just stay home and learn them off the internet if you wanted, but to be able to do this in a setting where you're speaking to someone else, you know, there's something about being present with somebody else. Like
I
I've
think
taught.
you retain more when it's personal.
Oh
right?
yeah,
Like when it's
yeah.
interactive.
Plus, you can't turn around without seeing, like the books of Gaelic and
Yeah,
everything around.
Yeah, you have the wealth of knowledge plus the human contact, which is
And
actually
record player.
what it goes down, what it all comes back to. Like we have all these advancements in technology, and it's like it's the simple that works. So,
Yeah.
like I do a lot of teaching online for fiddle, and one of my students came here on Monday. They braved the snowstorm, and she landed, and it was like such a difference. Like a half an hour lesson on Skype or whatever you choose is like, okay, that's enough, but a half an hour in real life, you're like, we could do another half an hour, no questions asked, So there's something about the real deal, which is makes it authentic.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, well, if we can get another selection of tunes out of this, we'd appreciate that.
Great.
Perfect.
All right.
We're gonna do one that you wrote, my friend.
Oh my goodness.
You probably should tell the story. It's the water boiling machine.
Oh boy. Okay.
I love this jig. It's so good.
The shorter version of the story is that I had written this tune originally as a pipe tune, but I changed it a bit. But anyway, and I was playing it for a guitar player, and at the time he was just starting to get into the English. He spoke mostly French, and so he didn't have all the vocabulary that he does now. And anyway, I think the tune was a little awkward, and so he went to the kitchen to make some tea, and then I heard him grumbling and mumbling in the kitchen. And anyway, it turned out he had taken the electric kettle, and it looked like a real kettle, and put it on the stove and turned it on, and the rubber burned to the burner. And he had just moved in with a new roommate, so he thought he ruined the roommate's kettle. So when the roommate came home, he said, what word will I use? Mess instead of a four-letter other word. And he said, I mess your water boiling machine. And he said, oh, it's the landlord, so I'll just replace it or whatever. And it was kind of comical, but I thought the water boiling machine, that'd be a fun name for the tune, which is for the kettle.
There you go. This one's the
love it.
water boiling machine. And we'll do a Howie McDowell tune, which I don't know the name of, after it. The G minor-y one.
Okay.
And then we'll see what happens.
Cool.
Okay, here we go with Andrea Beaton's excellent jig. The water boiling machine. 1, 2, 3, Donald. And Andrea.
Thanks.
Are you putting out any more books at all?
Not in the near future.
Not in the near future.
No, I don't know. I'm kind of in a weird project space right now.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
All right. Well, how about yourself? You're a artist in residence here at the school now.
Very fancy title.
Yes.
With a sash.
Do you have any plans for what you're doing with this?
Yeah, so when Kenneth was kind of approached to see if I'd be interested in it, I was like, oh, what would I do there? And then I was like, oh my gosh, I would definitely give my poor neighbor a break who's downstairs, who has to listen to my foot all the time when I'm teaching and playing. And he's like, can you please move to another part? And there's not many places to move. So I was thinking, well, why don't I come home for, like winter time, which is very quiet, and be able to work on tunes and kind of have a focus. And there's nothing better than kind of getting out of your space to get yourself into a different headspace for learning. So yeah, the mandate that I think that's on my agenda for the time here would be to work on tunes for Beaton, because we are trying to get an album together.
Nice.
Okay.
I tentatively say that it's just albums are the hardest thing to put together, especially they're hard when you're a solo artist, and they're really hard when you have a bunch of bandmates too. It's just finding the time, and
especially when you all have other part. It's not like it's the full-time thing, right?
Yeah.
You're not living together doing this, right?
yeah,
Like,
exactly. So
That's
it's
not the focus.
it's just like right now it's like I always say it's like a giant puzzle piece. So I want to focus on Beaton tunes and focus on Eric and myself. We would love to record another album.
Nice.
Eric Wright's a cellist from Vermont, now living in Ontario, and so that's a really enjoyable gig. We did some work on some tunes in October, so we did a bit of groundwork, so it's less daunting looking at the tunes left to fix that one up. And then my own solo album, which is so overdue. I don't know what you'd call it anymore. It's 20 some years ago. I have lots of tapes if anybody wants them.
Me too.
Oh,
Let's have a tape sale.
let's have a tape party.
Oh, a tape party.
Yeah, like Secret Santa, we pass out all our tapes.
Just mail them like a chain letter.
I know.
Yeah.
Ooh, good idea. So that's going to be my time here, like working on music, and at the same time maybe trying to create more of my own compositions, which I find very difficult, but you just have to start doing it. I haven't given myself the time to. Like, you write so many great tunes. Is there times when like they come to you quickly, or is there times where you're like struggling over a beat part, or how do you?
They mostly come. Well, if I can't think of a B part, I just put it away.
Yeah.
And then I come back to it.
Yeah.
But I usually write. I'm an emotional writer.
Yeah.
I used to write on planes because there was nothing else to do, and I was usually coming home from a trip, and
Yeah.
things would have happened or not happened on the trip that I would have been happy or sad about. So I would just like write about that, but not really about it. Just like it was just like feelings, and my feelings are processed in notes. I guess.
That's wonderful though.
Yeah.
Like,
But
I know I find that like I kind of just write for sad things. So there should be some happy things also in there, or just regular things also. You know.
Yeah. I had a 2-year drought where I was just busy, and the little kids were little, and I was.
You're the busiest woman I know, so I don't feel guilty.
And then one day, and I even tried to write a tune at one point, and nothing would come, and I was like, it was like negative energy or something, and then one day, I was just like, oh, I think a tune is coming. Oh, and so I got out my book, and in like a month, I wrote like 45 tunes.
Okay.
Like I just like. They wouldn't stop, and like they were coming to me when I had nothing to write on, and I was like, "Where were you 2 years ago?"
Oh, that's so neat.
And then I've hardly written one since.
So they just go. I think they go in spurts probably.
Yeah.
You know, just where your emotional energy is available, right?
And when you have time, and like
you have 2 kids and dogs and businesses and.
You can't always force the creative process.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
And I think that's when you start to do that. That's when the panic sets in, and it's like, I have to finish an album. It's like, oh my gosh. No, so it's like it's nice when things come when you're just going through a book, just for the sake of looking for a tune, not for like the panic of
Yeah.
I need something in B flat right
Yes,
now.
exactly.
So then you just end up choosing something quickly. It's like, yeah. So
All right, and now I have a question for Andrea.
yeah.
What advice, and this is actually a question that I am interested in as well, but what advice would you give to young people who are looking how to chord?
Oh my. Well, I'm not very good with this because fiddle was my first instrument and piano I picked up much later. But I really believe that the key thing is listening and listening and listening and working on timing, because you can play all the right chords and not be on time, and it feels way worse than if you're on time and you make a few flubs with chords or whatever. But really listening to, I try to pay attention to the fiddler's foot when I'm playing, to try and sink into their groove. And mind you, when I'm nervous, sometimes I'm concentrating more on my hands. But I really think I would like really concentrate on the rhythm of everything, and then find the nicest chords you can find without being too flashy first, and start with the good old meat and potatoes, as they say.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good to know. Keep that in mind. Hopefully, anybody planning to learn how to chord keeps that in mind too.
And keeps time.
I like what Mac has said too. Like, just it's the listening.
Yeah.
Listen. You may think that you know a tune inside out, and then if you hear, say, somebody in a different, like say if it was Irish style or Scottish style, putting a different chord in there, and you're like, oh, that just changed the whole tune. You got to be open to hearing those things too, right? And it's amazing. Like, there's the overplaying when you're kind of like, wow, there's no space left for groove or anything. Yeah. Or there's the ones where you've heard this tune, 1,000 times, and then you hear two different chords in it, and it's like a brand new tune again. Yeah. And it really does make the fiddle player's night exceptional when everything locks in. It's it turns into an easy gig.
Yes, exactly.
All right. With that, I guess. I guess it's time to end this. Happily.
Thank you.
I don't know. I kind of I don't know. Happily Vaholatanya. Thank you everyone for coming, for watching the show, and remember. And thank you, Andrea and Mairi, for coming in and playing for us. And for remember, College Student Gaelic is a non-profit organization. Rodney wants me to mention that.
Donation link in the comments.
Yeah, any donations are greatly appreciated. And now I guess if I could ask you two to play us out, play a selection to end us off.
Okay.
Yay!
Okay. Well, thank you for having us.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it's great. It's good to be home playing tunes with you, Andrea. Let's do a G group. Okay. So the first one. It's in this book. Hold on 1 second. It's a beautiful tune that Jerry Holland and Dave McIsaac wrote. And not a lot of people play it, but it's so pretty. It's called Memories of Elmer Briand.
Oh.
Any fiddle players out there, get these books. These are the colored books, we call them. There's yellow and orange and purple and red. They're Jerry and Brenda Stubberts, and they're done by Paul Cranford, and they're just the gem of every single time. I've been looking for the name for this tune forever, and there it is in my oldest, most used books. And it's just like, you always find something new in that book. So that's Memories of Elmer Briand, and then we'll go into some Strathspeys. What else will I put with that? There was a great little Irish reel that I learned, From Donna Harkin, Irish box player that we did a tour with in Germany. It's called Road to Ballymac. And then we'll finish off with a Cape Breton tune by one of the McNeil boys called Brucey and the Troops. So thank you very much. And here we go. Sorry, my button is making a noise. 1, 2, 3.